Hi, everybody. Welcome back for round 5, the last round of Swiss in our Cube Discord's CoinFlip Cube League. I'm Ben Grove, here bringing you my round 5 match. Now, at 4-0, I'm already locked in for top 8, but we're going to play this one out. My opponent here is the other 4-0 deck, and they're really packing some heat, so we definitely want to scout some things out here in a round where it doesn't matter. Nothing's on the line right now, other than I guess top 8 bracket placement. But we're not going that deep in the tank on this one. But for those of you just tuning in, we on our Cube Discord we drafted the CoinFlip cube, and now CoinFlip cube is a really special cube in which you get to decide all of the coin flip results yourself. You don't have to actually flip any of the coins. Except for confusion, which that definitely will play in this time around. But so basically, this cube just lets a lot of Pokemon that had attacks that were too unreliable, too flippy, and trainer cards as well to really shine in unique ways here. And it also comes together for a lot of really powerful gameplay here. So just taking a look at the CoinFlip cube here on Cube Koga, you can take a look. There's really cool lines that are not normally seen in Cube. You've got some Neo Typhlosions, which are all CoinFlip based, really unreliable. You've got Malamar line. You've got a Fortress line, which is doing some spread, and you've got what my deck is, which is a Dragon deck. We're using Altaria from Crimson Invasion and its Draco Melody attack to cheat out some big Dragonites from the deck, and big Flygons as well, and using these big boys as our main attackers and trying to basically run them the length of the entire game. We do obviously have a couple other supporters and a couple backup attackers here with Gigas and Celebi Prime and even sometimes Shaman. And this time around, we are up against a Crobat deck. Now, Crobat it's a really dangerous line in this cube. It was a line that I was thinking of. Yeah, like if I find a Crobat deck, like I think this would be really solid. But I don't think I was considering it as dangerous as this deck looks. First of all, Crobat is disruptive. Plus, it also can hit hard. On the disruptive end, we've got Crobat from Hidden Legends here with Flutter Trick. Flip a coin. If heads, look at your opponent's hand and choose one card. Your opponent discards the card you choose. Now, this can be really dangerous against me. If going into the game turn 1, I have like one Altaria out in hand, this Crobat can just discard it. And because this deck gets to play Forest of Giant Plants, my opponent going second can just Forest of Giant Plants up into Crobat, discard my one out, and I'm really stuck out of the game. There are a couple other Crobats that have some really strong attacks. This Crobat from Neo Revelation with Cross Attack, flip 4 coins. This attack does 20 damage to a number of heads. If you get 2 or more heads, defending Pokemon is now confused. So 80 damage and confusion for 3, really threatening. And the cool thing that this deck has is it has a package basically supporting the Crobat with tanking ability. You've got 2 Floettes from Flash Fire that give your grass Pokemon 20 more HP each. You've got cards like Herbal Energy, Citrus Berry, Training Center, and then the Cherrim line here basically are healing them up and making them really big. Now, the great thing is, if there are no HP mods in play, we can take down any of these Crobats with just one attack from Dragonite. So we do have some counterplay into it, but there's definitely some things that we have to watch out for. I'm excited to just go ahead into the match here. Alrighty. So starting it off, my opponent, I believe, will start and go first. I have a quick mulligan here, and then the second hand is pretty good. I've got I've got a Swablu start plus a Swirlix to back it up, and a Night Teleporter play. So, learning from a mistake I made in a previous game, I am going to Night Teleporter to basically throw away the whole hand to get Lily into play. So Night Teleporter lets you pick one card from your deck and put it in your hand, but you have to shuffle the whole hand back in as a result. I got a whole new hand, and this hand has got a lot of really playable cards in it, and so I can go ahead and start using Unknown Y. Unknown Y is going to pull Psychic Energy out of the deck for me, and then we're going to go ahead for a Razorwind and pass. My opponent's starting their turn off hot with a Bug Catcher, drawing 4 cards, and evolving into Dark Golbat, attaching Citrus Berry, and then this was kind of a blink if you miss it play. They also evolved into Dark Golbat on the bench, pinging my active, and then using Night Ambush on the active Dark Golbat to hit it for 30 and knocking out my Swablu that only has 40 HP. Really strong play from my opponent, but luckily I have some responses into it. So, draw Regigigas off the top. Nothing doing there. I'll get Swirlpuff into play. I'll use Unknown Y to pull another Psychic Energy from the deck. And just kind of considering my options here of what I can do. But I'll just go ahead for the teammates, since I did get knocked out last turn. I'll grab an Altaria, and I grab an Energy as well. We'll bench down Celebi, and we'll swoop Teleporter our Swablu into a Swablu from the Unknown Y, and use Draco Melody, and we'll get Flygon into play. I definitely threw with the energy that I got for Celebi. I don't know why I got a Lightning Energy, especially if I'm pulling Flygon into play. I should have grabbed a Rainbow Energy there. But we'll see if my opponent can punish. My opponent starting off strong with a Timer Ball, which is going to guarantee get 2 evolutions from the deck. And they're going to get a Cherrim, and we can't see what it is because the Timer Ball graphic is blocking. It is Fluttertrick Crobat. And attaching to the Dark Golbat, Sinlin for turn, getting back Bug Catcher. And they're just going to go ahead and try and disrupt my hand. The good thing is my hand is pretty undisruptible with both Judge and Chatot. They're basically the same card. So I've got a lot of good play here. So they go ahead and Fluttertrick, and they throw away the Judge, but after a second I realize, oh no way, I should probably throw away the Chatot. And yeah, that is probably the better play. After that, I just kind of consider my options. We'll Quick Ball away the Judge and get Azelf. My Dragonite is prized in this game, so I need to fetch it out. I'm going to get Dragonite, and then I'll Sandflap to put it back in deck. The great thing is here that I really don't get punished for attaching that Lightning Energy randomly to the Celebi, because I pull a couple Rainbow off here, and then I'll just go ahead and Draco Melody and get my second Dragon out in play. My opponent starts to turn off a Bug Catcher, evolving up into their first Floette, so they are now buffed up to 110 HP, and getting a second Crobat in play. In this Crobat, they're going to attach DRE and go ahead in swinging and knock out my Altaria. Now looking at my hand, I don't really have too much going on. I can actually attack with a Time Circle right now, which seems pretty good. So I'll actually instead Force Breath and attach to Flygon, and I'll Tasting for 1. Announce Double Gust. Now the cool thing I'm doing right here is I'm not presenting that I have a way to attack with Dragonite, but in fact I do. And because I have Level Ball in hand, I can go ahead and get Shaman. I Gust up one of Crobats, and I'll play Black Belt for turn to knock it out. And because I had already set my prizes with Azelf, I know where the other Double Gust is, and I think after this I really want to target down Floette. Pull a Psychic Energy for turn, and just kind of consider my options. I go right away for the Double Gust, They bring up, I'm assuming Azov? No? Yeah, Azov. Now the cool thing is that I did draw Psychic Energy, so Azov does have some funny lockup shenanigans, but I kind of decide they still have too many switch outs in their deck. I'll attach to the Azov because I have to retreat. And I'll go ahead and reserve ticket and put something on top of my deck, looking for an Olympia play next turn. And I'll go ahead and heal wing and knock out the Floette. And now the Crobats are back down to 90 HP. My opponent plays Pokemon Breeder, draws a card. But then they counter me. Okay, they'll play Training Center, and they're back up to 120. I still have to I still have to use the Olympia to heal to put myself out of range. I go ahead and Tasting for 2. I'll attach to the Floatstone to the Slurpuff and retreat out and just healing. They use their Fairweather here on the Cherrim to heal back down to 7, and then they Iona me. The good thing is I'm still finding all my switch outs here. They hit me for 70 in Confusion again, but we still switch out. I'm going to go ahead and Erica, draw 3 cards. Nothing too much off the Erica right now, so I believe I just go for a Comp Search. Attach to Celebi for turn. I'll Tasting for 1. I don't find anything useful off of that. And I think I do just bite the bullet here. Yes, I do. I'll Comp Search. We'll discard Swablu in my own Training Center to get a switch. So play the switch. And we'll switch into the Swirpuff and go ahead and heal wing for the KO. My opponent bumps the stadium with their Forest Giant Plants and just simply goes in with Cherrim. Now here at this point, I've got Energy Restore, so I can pull up my Funky Fresh Time Circle plays. I'll go ahead and Spark as well, draw 2 cards, and attach a Lightning. Then Windstorm the Forest of Giant Plants, and go ahead and Time Circle. Now the unfortunate thing is here that they're healing 2 damage off this with Cherrim's own ability, so it's really not. The Time Circle is not very threatening. It's just helping me stall out and power up the Flygon. So they recognize this. They retreat into Cleffa and just get a better hand to pass. I draw a card off Tasting. It's not the card I want. I just Force Breath and Judge myself. Sandflap myself, and it's literally the same hand. What can you do? No energy that I wanted. So we just go ahead and Time Circle the Cleffa. They get into the second Cherrim, so they can just straight up heal the Cleffa if they want to. I don't think they're going to. Maybe they do. They go into Dark Golbat. And they ping... Where are they pinging? They ping the Slurpuff. And they just go ahead and pass. I draw the Rainbow Energy off the top there. And I kind of consider my options here. I'll retreat the Celebi and go in for the Sand Tomb and take the Regigigas off the prizes. That's really important. I need to swoop one of these guys from the Regigigas into something else. They go in with the triple poison on the Crobat to poison me. That was really kind of important because I sandflapped away, or I judged away one of the Crobat they actually wanted to use in that situation. I'm going to sandflap myself. I don't really draw anything useful off it. I'm looking to get the Regigigas into the deck, but it does not stick. So in that case, I just attach attach the Unknown Y to Flygon, and we go for an Energy Bloom to kind of stall out some turns here. I put 4 energy, a Swablu, and a Chatot back into the deck. And they just go ahead and triple poison the Shaman. And there it is. I draw the Swoop Teleporter, which is really good. But not necessarily anything to swoop into. Aha! We found it. We found the out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to retreat out of Shaman because it's poisoned right now. I'll attach to Selby for turn, and then I'm just going to swoop Teleporter it away and get Regigigas. Luckily, he benched a 30 HP Flabebe, and will take out the Flabebe. And now I have 2 threats that are still kind of active here. I've got Regigigas and Flygon, and I've got 1 prize left to take, which it puts me in a really good spot. And both of these guys are really resilient because we can drag off and Giga Hammer, and we can Sand Tomb. Well, Drag Off and Sand Tomb are the attacks that kind of like prevent my opponent from switching out with their free retreating guys and making my life miserable that way, because I have used both Double Gust at this point. I bench Chatot, and I go ahead and Olympia. Chatot using Lucky Match to get back Olympia from the discard pile, and I'll Giga Hammer. Then my opponent plays their own Olympia and uses both of their healing cards. And an herbal energy for turn, and basically just erases the entire turn that I did and goes ahead and triple poisons me again. At this point, my Regigigas doesn't really do anything, which is kind of funny, because if I can't Giga Hammer, Drag Off doesn't really do anything because that damage just gets healed. So I just drag off the active. Not necessarily really the smart play. I really should have gone in with the lockup there with Azelf. And that's what I'll do here. I'll go ahead and attach to Shaman and lock up. Now lockup's going to deal 4 damage because of weakness. My opponent will heal most of it up. Set the top of their deck with the reserve ticket. And Double Gust me. So getting out of the lockup shenanigans, I'm assuming I pick the chair. Like, there's nothing else I could pick here. I gotta pick the chair. And I'm assuming he picks the Chatot. Yes. And attach retreat, and he's gonna go ahead and poke me for 20. Looking into my discard pile, seeing what my energy is like. And yeah, he used Triggered Poison, which isn't really going to do anything against me. I go ahead and Sand Flap myself first. And then I'll Copycat for 2. And we don't hit anything. My opponent goes back into Crobat and goes ahead and Flutter Tricks me. I Tasting for 1. Nothing doing there. I'm really low on cards. I can't actually really draw anything from here because that'll put me at deck out range, but I do have an energy left in deck that I need to use here. And that energy is basically my last out to switch around some stuff. I'll go ahead and do the Sand Flap. I find the energy and I go in with Flygon and use Sand Tomb and lock that Crobat in the active, and my opponent does not have a switch out. They're able to Herbal Energy and heal off a lot of that damage, but not enough. We get the win in game 1. Now game 2, I start off. I'm gonna go ahead and check out my hand here. My hand has a Swablu, Altaria, and Dragonite in it, and nothing else. And so that hand is definitely a gentleman's mulligan hand. Like we can't go into this game and just like maybe Flygon's prize and then we just do nothing with that. So that's a risk I'm not willing to take here. And so we gentleman's mulligan. Oh, well, actually, what happened there was Sorry, yeah, this would look weird because it'll look like we gentleman's mulligan twice there. What actually happened was we forgot to decide, like, say who was going first before we drew our hands. And realistically, my hand there, like if I was going first, that hand was definitely a keepable hand, I think. But if I was going second, it was not as keepable, or something like that. But yeah, so regardless, that first hand did not count. Then I took a gentleman's mulligan, and then we arrived at this hand here. I open up with Swablu. He benches down a whole bunch of guys and attach passes. I've got a whole bunch of Swablus that I can bench as well. But I'm just going to go ahead and comp search and play it for Lily. We'll get an unknown Y off that. We'll start accelerating some energy. I've got both Level Ball and Altaria in hand, so basically it is my turn 2 Swablu is guaranteed, and I go ahead and hit him Fury Attack for 30 damage. The flip 3 coins attack on the Swablu, putting in a lot of work. My opponent popping off with Bug Catcher to draw 4, Timer Ball to get 2 Golbats, including the one that draws cards, Quick Ball to get a Cherrim, and attach and uses Air Slash for 50 damage to knock me out. We luckily do just had the second one, so we'll go ahead and evolve, attach, and Draco Melody and get the Flygon out of the deck. My opponent will Flutterstrike, and then thankfully Iona me first. Or sorry, they'll evolve and Iona me. They'll use. This is the first time this Crobat has come into play. This Crobat has a carry-off ability where your opponent will reveal your hand, and you take a Pokemon you find there and shuffle it back into your opponent's deck, which is also, it's a really great combo piece for the Crobat deck to look at your opponent's hand and decide, do I want a Fluttertrick, do I want a Triple Poison? And so after this, my opponent decides they want to Triple Poison me. Off of that, nothing really too pressing. So I'll go ahead and grab my last Psychic Energy from the deck with Yield, and just go ahead for the Judge. You don't really draw anything fun off that, so I Sand Flap myself. And we'll just go ahead and Draco Melody and get the second guy. The carry-off pulls the Pokemon out of my hand, but I still have a very good hand here. And they'll go ahead and Fluttertrick away Night Teleporter. Taking the KO there, I'll go ahead and Quick Ball away Altaria. I'm looking for Shaman, I realize it's prized, so we have to go for the Azelf. And we'll grab the Azelf. Reveal my prizes there, and we'll get Shaman. We'll put Shaman into play, and we'll move some energy around, and then we'll Sand Flap myself. Now, I make the really risky play here. I actually give my opponent some cards here. I've already Sand Flapped for the turn because I was down to 0 cards. So I'm going to just give my opponent extra cards here. I Forest Breath, attach for turn, and I realize I haven't played a supporter still, so I will Teammates. And with this Teammates, I'll guarantee that I can Double Gust. I believe I go for the Double Gust on the Floette here, because the Floette is what's keeping me from taking knockouts. So I'll go ahead and grab Floatstone and Swoop off of that. I'll Swoop away Azelf for Unknown Q, which I will immediately attach to Selby, and I'll go ahead and Heal Wing for the knockout. My opponent will Lily for turn, and just go ahead and carry off and Triple Poison me. Now they have established a second Floette here, so I have to do something about that. My Dragonite right now has been triple poisoned, so the damage is racking up on it. It basically counteracts the healing. And so I just go ahead for the black belt to knock out the active, since I'm still behind on prizes, and the heal wing counteracts the poison. I do this play because I kind of recognize that my opponent doesn't really have a good way to rack up enough damage to get the knockout. And yeah, they just go ahead and poke me. I go ahead Volkner, and I'm going to go ahead and Volkner for just the switch. Go into Celebi, Forest Breath, bump the Stadium. I bump the Stadium because I'm not really, like, with the Floette in play, I'm not really concerned that I have to 2-hit. Like, I'm going to 2-hit KO them. I grab a second energy into play with my attachment to return when I have energy restore there. And I'll just go ahead into Dragonite and Heal Wing for 90. This training center also putting me out of range of getting knocked out. My opponent order pads for an extra receiver, and they'll get Pokemon Breeder to heal their guy up. They'll also heal it with the Cherrim. Heal it with... they're going to think about Herbal Energy. And they're just going to carry off first and get rid of my Slurpuff in hand. And just hit me after attaching Herbal Energy finally. And I've been hit for a bunch, and I'm confused now. Now, my hand here is not strong. I don't have much that I'm doing. But I do have Pokeball to get a Chatot, and I can actually pivot some guys around because of that. So I'll bench the Chatot, I'll get back Volkner, and use Volkner. And I'll Volkner for Double Gust. My opponent choosing on the Double Gust first. They get to pick who they're gusting. And they probably will gust the Chatot. Yes, they will. So I will attach to the Chatot. And I'm going to grab the Cherubi because everything else is made a lot more tanky with Training Center. Like, I actually, like, I can't knock out the Floette with healing, so I have to grab the Cherubi there, which is fine actually because that just prevents the other Cherrim from getting into play. And my opponent will go up for the Cross Poison after pinging me with Dark Golbat. Now, seeing their board with all evolved Pokemon, I actually don't go for it. I just double attach to the Flygon and Copycat. I honestly think that would have been a really good time to go for a Time Circle. They don't really have a way to heal that much, but I'll go ahead in with the Sand Tomb. I have Olympia in hand for next turn, so I can heal a little bit and dodge out of the confusion. They'll carry off my Swirlix. Heal again with Herbal Energy and hit me for 80 and Confusion. I'm just going to go ahead into Olympia and bench the Gigas, which I don't know if that's the right play here, but I do it anyway. I'll go in and Sand Tomb for the knockout. We're up 2 prizes to 3. Now this Crobat also a big threat. It can hit hard, but he doesn't have the energy to get the knockout. So we're just gonna go ahead in with the Flutter Trick again, or sorry, with the triple poison. Poison me. At this point in the game, I recognize that getting Swirlix into play actually would be kind of a threat, because I want to get the Shaman out of play so I can move some energy around again. And Slurpuff is immune to the confusion and the poison effects that that the Crobats keep putting on me using its Light Pulse attack. I still got a Rainbow Energy that I can play around with. Because I put some energy back in the deck, I can Unknown Y again. And I'm going to attach to Celebi and flap myself, Force Breath the Gigas, and Time Circle. No, my opponent has the Double Gust in hand, so they're just going to kill the Flygon. Big sad. So from this position, the cool thing that I can do is I can attack with the Slurpuff. I just have to stack. I'm going to stack the Slurpuff on top of my deck. I really should have sequenced this in a different way, but it doesn't really matter. I have the Bug Catcher to draw cards. I'm only going to draw 2 because I'm only going to draw 1 because I'm a coward. I'll get the Slurpuff, and then I'll Unknown Y to pull more energy out of the deck, and then I'm going to go for the Celebration Wind Shaman. This is going to shuffle all my energy around. Really what I do is just move the energy off of Celebi onto... I just kind of swap around the energy on Celebi because I still have the potential to attack with it. I have enough energy left in deck to do that. And I'll go for the Light Pulse. And that just kind of prevents the weird effects that he's going to put on me. So Flutter Trick and Crobat is basically useless in this situation. The carry off one is the one I want. I'll heal it up a little bit. And use carry off to throw back the Azelf. And Flutter Trick away the Windstorm, which kind of prevents my Training Center play. That I was gonna do some sneaky shenanigans with Training Center probably. The Flutter Trick only poking me for 10 is not too bad. So I just go ahead and Light Pulse, and I hit him back for 60. My opponent, though, has game in hand with that Dark Golbat. The Unknown Y is ripe for the picking. They're going to smack into the Slurpuff. It has 9 damage counters on it, which basically means it's donezo. And I don't have a way to deal with all this. I yield to check my deck. There ain't much left in the deck. I'll Tasting for 2. I retreat out of it. And just kind of Time Circle and do nothing. My opponent's going to just go ahead and snipe down the Slurpuff. And we just go to game 3. Going into game 3, if I'm going first, I've got a great hand here. I've got Swablu, I've got Altaria. I just kind of have to hope that they don't have the turn 1 Flutter Trick. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach pass. My opponent starts off with an Order Pad, which I believe will probably go for something like an X Transceiver. No, it'll just go for Timer Ball. Because they do have their so they're considering their line there. They're 10 damage short. My Swablu is too tanky at 50 HP. But they do have the Forest of Giant Plants. Because Goosehala, they're going to poke me, and then they're going to go ahead and Flutter Trick and discard the Altaria. I'm going to Erica, because I just drew Judge off the top, which is pretty reliable. And then I have to do a funny little play here. I have to Quick Ball and get Azelf. Because my other Altaria is prized. So, like, this actually... It actually worked out a lot better for me that the Altaria was prized, because my hand does not have a good way otherwise to get Altaria into play. I would have had to Night Teleporter for it. So lucky me, the Altaria was prized, so I could Azelf for it. So I attach to Azelf, and I'll just go for a Judge to disrupt my opponent. Not too much in my hand, but not too much I need. And I go ahead for the Flagon. I've got the Rainbow Energy in play, and Flagon's ready to get built up. My opponent gets a Floette off the Timer Ball, so their guys are beefy now. And they'll go ahead and Lily draw some cards. And hit me with the triple poison. Not too much doing in my hand, but I think I'll probably end up going for something like a ball guy. I'll attach for turn and Copycat. Interesting. I think it's because I think something's prized that basically meant that I could not try and swing with Flagon. I'll play down Training Center, just get rid of their Forest of Giant Plants, but that ends up being a greedy play that I didn't need to make. And I'll go ahead and get Dragonite out. We'll see later on how this Training Center bump kind of cost me. What it does do is it allows my Altaria to live for a little bit longer than it should. My opponent just establishing a Cherrim. I'll draw for turn. It is the Unknown Y. So I think I should have gone for a totally different play on the previous turn. Well, regardless, we'll judge. Attach for turn, and we'll go for the lockup. Doing 40 damage, which is not bad, and trapping that Crobat in the active. My opponent benches Zubat and attaches, and Iono's me. They're going to Flutter Trick and discard Volkner. I'll attach to Flygon for turn. Attach to Unknown Y from the deck using Yield. And with Training Center stuck in play, we'll go ahead and Spark. Just drawing 2 cards, nothing doing. I realized I already attached for turn. I just saw the Lightning Energy and Red Spark, and I was like, oh, that's how that works. No, I don't get to attach twice. And I go for the second lockup. So this Crobat's up to 8. He's going to poke my Flygon with Dark Golbat. Going to heal the Crobat with Cherrim. And Flutter Trick away Black Belt, which is big sad. I really wanted the Black Belt for some spicy plays. We're going to Computer Search 2 energy away. A little greedy. Basically, the Black Belt could have played through the Training Center and the Floette to take the knockout with Lockup next turn. And so what I do here is I kind of extend probably a little bit too much that I need to. I'll go ahead and get Chatot I'll energy restore, get those energy back that I just comp searched away. Attach to Dragonite, and I'll use Chatot to get back Black Belt and take the knockout. I should have really walked through all the steps there, and I'll take Unknown Q off the prizes. My thought process here was that if I'm able to take a KO with the Azelf, that just means that like near the end of the game, I have more attackers available. My opponent doesn't hit anything off this, and so I feel like I'm in a really good spot. Unfortunately, this Cherub does have 70 HP, so he's a big boy. I'm just going to attach the turn for the Dragonite. Bench Unknown Q, Lily for 3. Not too much off of that. We'll attach to Azelf, and then we'll go ahead in for the Sand Tomb and get Brock's Grid off the prizes. Mostly, I'm just thinking ahead there with Brock's Grid. I will eventually need to recycle some stuff, so that's just a forward-thinking play. Cool thing here is in this situation, I haven't Shamaned yet, so I still have a lot of plays open to me. My opponent's going to evolve into the nasty 80 damage and Confusion Crobat, but sometimes you do just top deck Olympia. So I will use Olympia, heal 30 damage, and retreat into Azelf and then retreat back. I'll Sand Flat myself, mostly just to get that Psychic Energy out of hand and into deck so I can yield for it, and I'll Sand Tomb. My opponent will carry off my Pokemon out of my hand, attach Herbal Energy and Fairweather Heal to just erase all the damage I did the previous turn, which is very frustrating, to say the least. And then I really kind of have to ponder my options. I kind of talked a big game about how, oh, this Azelf saved me a whole bunch of prizes, but then, like, the Flygon hasn't done anything. I draw a whole bunch off of Bugcatcher. And just kind of ponder my options here for a second. At the end of the day, I decide, okay, I got to get out of here. I'm too damaged. And I'll go into Azelf and go for the lockup, and I'll hit it for 40. I'm going to end up really being only for 20 damage because of the Cherub, but most importantly, it locks it in the active. And they had just played Olympia, so hopefully no shenanigans. But they're going to Sin Lane and get back Olympia, so what do I know? At this point, though, they will take the KO on the Azelf. By Azelf. Interestingly here, I have to go for the Shaman because my energy is... I just don't have an energy in hand. I only have one energy left in deck. I'm going to get the Regigigas into play, move some energy off the Unknown Y and Celebration Wind. I discard my own Training Center to get the Crobat out of play. And now my line I'm thinking here is I want to Double Gust, take out the Floette, so then my Crobats are actually just going to be able to just be one shot. My opponent carries the Celebi off. Uses Clara to get back Zubat, Cherub, and some energy. Benches Zubat and hits me for 80. I'll yield to check the deck, see what options I've got left. I got both Double Gust left, and that basically kind of means I just have to take one prize, because I can double gust some of these squishier guys on the bench. And I choose to double gust the Floette here. That'll bring up Shaman. And I'll recognize that I need to use that Shaman again, so I'll swoop it into Celebi, which I can also then just like Forest Breath and do the Celebi thing. Retreat. I'll reserve ticket to set the top of my deck. We just have a little discrepancy about damage counters there, but the ping damage was placed on the Flygon, not on the Dragonite. So I'll healing and I'll take an energy off the prizes. I'm going to decide to take the Floette because this Crobat now has just 90 HP. But my opponent does have the counter to that, and this is really where the game goes off the rails. The Raihan here putting the energy on the Zubat, and my opponent getting to see my hand with Carry Off. Luckily, I don't have any Pokemon, but the Raihan will grab the Training Center, which means the Crobat is now out of range again. The Cherrim is out of range, and now I'm confused. So I have to double gust. And I have to double gust the Golbat because the Cherrim is now at 100 HP. I'll attach Rainbow for turn to the Unknown Y. Now I have two heavily damaged guys. Realizing I don't play the Lily for 4 because that'll take me down to 1 card left in deck. And that's... Oh, no, I do. Am I going to play the Lily? Yeah, I am. I'm going to draw 3. Yeah, I still have a long ways to like shuffle things back in the deck. Switch is cool and important. Yeah, so it was a good draw. I'll go ahead in for the healing. Recognizing that Sandtomb is a little bit more impactful in the late game. Here at this point, my opponent is... just going to take the KO, attach Citrus Berry too, which just means this guy is so obnoxiously thick. Albrox Grit. We'll put back Shaman. We'll put back Energy and an unknown Q. I probably should have put back another Energy. We'll attach for turn. We'll flap my opponent, and we'll go ahead and the Citrus Berry will trigger, the Fairweather Heal will trigger, and I've just hit them for 30 damage, and that's it. And so they're going to knock out my Crobat here. This is big sad. Or knock out my Flygon with their Crobat. Attach the Cherrim and take the KO. Now the awkward thing is I didn't draw an energy, so I have to Unknown Y and Level Ball, and so really it comes down to I shouldn't have put Unknown Q back in, I don't think. I'll Night Teleporter for 1 card. It's a Grass Energy. And I'm going to go ahead and Giga Hammer and hit them for a bunch of damage. Now, I don't know what the right play was. But basically what happens here is my opponent just has some frustratingly annoying healing. It's just kind of sad. So, the Olympia. The Fairweather Heal. That healed 50 that turn. I can't drag off, but I did top deck the switch. But the problem is this Cherem has too much HP. It's got 100 HP with the training center in play, and I don't have a stadium bump. If I hadn't been so greedy with my stadium, if I hadn't been so greedy with my Windstorm, because I Windstorm away my own stadium, might have been a different story. So I just go ahead and switch and retreat and smack the Cherem. My opponent now has a Flutter Trick and Crobat, which will get the KO. And I don't top deck anything. So, that's the game. They, like, at the end, there was just, like, so much capacity for them to heal up. And just, like, I was never going to be able to take the KO. I just ran out of gas. So, I think going into... going into a potential rematch later on in the top 8, I just really have to focus on the end game and how I'm going to play that out, because whatever I did, it wasn't the right thing. I don't know what the right thing is right now, but it wasn't what I did. Because and I will admit the game 3 was a little tilting because I was down to 1 prize and my opponent was at 4, but the tankingness of the Crobat really is coming into play. Once again, this is the third or fourth game that Training Center has really just been what makes or breaks the game. This time, my opponents having Training Center was what won them the game instead of me doing cool Training Center plays. So, I think it's now 3 times my opponent has gotten more value out of Training Center. 1 time I've gotten the value out of it. So, Training Center might be my least favorite card in deck. Might be, but good thing is, this game was basically just for positioning in top 8 because we were both guaranteed. So I'll head in at 4-1. Still a very good record. I'm very happy with that. I mean, this Cube League is very competitive. Most of the people who play this, especially in this league, a lot of the people that are playing this have been Cube veterans. So this ain't their first rodeo. And in fact, this is the second time that CoinFlip Cube has been played in a league setting. Looking forward to top 8. Looking forward to showing you more matches. Hopefully it'll be more than just one, but we'll check that out as we continue on. And I'll see you next time.